Welcome back for episode 6 of the Fall of Plaguestone. This is Azmyth Busters, and we're here to play some Pathfinder 2nd Edition, and I welcome you to our show. At the end of the last episode, Simon, our brave goblin, had just searched the back area between the building and the barn, and he made a very relevant discovery that he was quite anxious and in fact made a good amount of noise, yelling and calling his friends to come see as well. Where we ended scene, and where we will be picking up immediately, is they have found an empty vial, an empty poison vial that matches the smell and the evidence of that which was used to bring about poor Bort's demise. So I welcome you back, my players, and where we pick up, most of you are still in the kitchen or around the kitchen. The sheriff and one of the townspeople have moved Bort's body down into the cellar where it will keep best because of the natural cold temperatures there. They've also cleaned up the bowls, and they've started moving things into the kitchen. Some of you are still lingering in the kitchen watching, and some of you have moved outside where Simon has shared his recent discovery with all of you.
So where is Delma?
Delma is in the kitchen with you. She's been kind of hanging out this whole time. I mean, the place is hers, so until the last person is here and she can actually lock the place up, she is still here.
So I ran out when Simon called out, but
Sure.
I'm gonna pop my head back inside and ask Delma, when the fight started out, Finnick was with you, right? Where did he go?
She thinks about it for a second and she says, it's hard to say. I was kind of fixated on the dining room when all hell broke loose. I remember seeing Sir Lawrence, and I remember seeing Trin leave out the front door. I really can't say. I didn't see him leave.
So when was the last time you saw him?
Well, between the courses, just before the fight, he was yeah. Well,
he was with you right next to you when the fight broke out, right?
No, I believe he was still tapping kegs. So he was popping around the room and using his little hammer, beating the corks off of kegs, and basically keeping busy. The thing that you noticed about Finnick, first and foremost, is that he was always doing something, because it seemed like the times that he was harassed is when he would be, sitting there doing nothing. So he always kind of stayed busy and always found excuses to do more things, which had him like, oh, there's people around here. Oh, I got chores to do over here. That kind of thing. It was kind of a defense mechanism.
Now, we've also just been called to the stables.
That's correct.
Right,
you heard Tamley yelling out at the stables, to me, and you were collecting up the evidence, perhaps securing your sample, Theron, so that none of the poison could leak out or get further if there's anything to be saved from it, to be studied. So the group goes to the stables. Are you taking your time? Do you want to run to the stables?
I'm taking my time.
Okay.
Let's get this over with. We need to track down that goblin.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to follow Theron and keep his pace.
Yeah, I'm doing my damnedest to buckle on my breastplate, which I took off earlier in the evening. This sounds serious.
Right. You're fumbling trying to get.
I'm walking out of the bar.
You're doing the Caden Kalian walk of shame.
Yeah, he's got the pig sticker tucked under his arm. He's like.
As I'm walking up, am I able to pull out a dagger just to prepare if there's something?
Absolutely. As a general rule, you can do things out of turn-based when you're not in combat and you're not held to an initiative order. You can just do things. Hey, I pull out a dagger. I load my crossbow.
So if we're in combat, then I'll already have it out and ready.
Sure. You're feeling nervous. You pull your dagger out.
Cool.
You want to have a weapon out. Anybody else want to arm themselves?
When I see that, I'm going to pull my sword and shield out. If Desmond is armed, I should be armed too. Something's going on.
All right.
I don't imagine we're stepping into a fight.
I just want to be sure. There's been acid wolves. There's been poisonings. You can take your chances. I'm going to walk around with a dagger.
Theron just chuckles at that as he makes his way to the stable.
Okay.
I'll walk behind Desna and Simon. Then I'm not going to pull out a weapon. They got this.
Sure. Yeah.
We're good.
You think that they might be a little twitchy, and until there's actual danger to be had, your blade stays in its scabbard. Fair.
Listen, you guys are going to be really happy when I save you all with my dagger. I'm just saying.
You know it.
I figure I'll just put things to sleep if they come by again. So
and Daisy's really dragging ass, so he's like, "Nope, hold up, Electra. Desna, wait up. I need to just hold up."
Does Daisy still have the mushroom?
We're such an organized collective group of individuals here.
While he's trying to put on his breastplate at the same time.
All right. So you make your way out to the stables. Caravan's second in command, Tamley. She has gathered the group together around her. She has gathered the caravan around her. And everyone looks very intent. Everyone's looking at her with confusion and anxiety and aspirations. No one really knows what's going on. There's talking amongst them. There's murmurings. And when she sees you walk in, she raises her hands as if she's going to strike them together like she always does. But merely the act of raising her hands is enough to get everyone's attention, and everyone quiets down. She waits for you to get close enough, choosing to get as close as you want to where she is, but getting close enough. She waits for you to get close enough so that you can hear her clearly. Bort was more than just a merchant, more than just a boss. He was my friend. We won't leave here until we found out who did this. Rolf's a fool, but I'd be an even greater fool if I thought I could get to the bottom of this myself. Fixing wagons and moving goods, that's my job. But you, she says, pointing at all of you, you might be able to figure out who killed Bort and get justice for him and for all of us. She seems to be holding back tears, which is very uncharacteristic of her. She's usually rock solid, always stoic. For all of us, will you help us? Will you help us uncover who has done this?
Yes.
Yes.
You have my word.
We're already on it.
We were actually doing that already, and then you called us over here to do this. Right. We're going to go back and do that.
She says, tell me what you have found.
Well, he was definitely poisoned. We know that. What's that?
She agrees. She says,
And we think we know somebody who might have the answers to it, and we're about to go visit the little bugger. So, we will be on our way.
Okay. So you grab the group and you leave. Okay. So after hearing Tamley's announcement, you start to make your way away from the stables back to where you were investigating. And she says, where are you going to find the little goblin anyway? I've already asked around. No one knows where it stays.
Have you asked Delma yet?
Delma is still here with you. And when you kind of say that and look towards her, she says, it's true. I don't know where Finnick stays. He could be in one of the abandoned homes. There are hunting shacks along the periphery of the town. He could sleep in a tree for all I know. He could be anywhere.
Well, let's start back where we found the bottle and see if we can pick up a trail from there. We know we left out the back door, right?
Yeah, you saw his feet, like you said.
Yeah, there were tracks.
Right.
Yeah. Well, there was a history of tracks that you found there, as if he traverses that place a lot, and likely the strongest, most impressions that you found, the one that were undeniably goblin tracks, were likely done at a wetter time when he, stomped through the mud a little bit, and then it dried up, leaving those impressions. So it's not.
While that is true, what we could do is go back to the back door, and then Theron, because you are the smart dwarf that you are, you can from there deduce the most likely potential paths that he might have taken, and then from there we narrow our places to look. Yes.
Yes.
And what kind of place would a cussed little goblin like to sleep in every day?
Well, I sleep with you guys.
But you know what I mean.
And you know what I mean.
Delma says, "Well, Simon, you are no Finnick."
This is true.
She says, I can direct you to the homes of Amora and to Trin, and I can never remember their names.
Delma, what time does Finnick usually go home, and what time does he usually arrive?
Well, he leaves after the last meal, after he is no longer needed. Sometimes he is deployed to the stables, where he helps out here with the animals and with cleaning of the stalls and things. I really don't know when he goes. He's one of those type of employees, like I told you, Conral, Trin, Amora, they all communicate with me fairly regularly. They tell me when they're coming and going, so I don't worry about them. Finnick does not. I just know when he's here, and I know when he's not. And I'm sorry, I can't help with more than that.
I just don't understand people who don't keep track of their goblins. But anyways.
Well, dear, he's not my goblin. He just works here.
I suppose.
We don't support the ownership of intelligent species here. I believe it's not only is it immoral, but it's against the laws of the crown.
Well, not ownership.
Well, you did say you're goblin. I'm sorry if I misunderstood you.
I think she meant employed by,
Yeah, so if he didn't show up, you'd want to be able to track him down to make sure he was all right.
Mm-hmm.
Would I?
I would
Maybe
think
not.
so. No. I mean, if my friends suddenly didn't show up, I'd track them down.
Well,
she says, well, truth be told, Amora spends more time with Finnick in the kitchen than probably anyone else here at the feed mill. As I said, she lives in the old orchard shack and the outside of town. And, well,
I should go talk to her.
Her a visit then.
She's either there or here. I don't believe her. I don't believe her day-to-day occupies much more than that.
What? Apple?
I think we can probably move on to her house then, I would say.
Maybe she'll have a better idea.
Hopefully someone will.
Yeah.
She says Conral lives not far from the feed mill with his wife and his newborn daughter. And she kind of gives you the impression of how to find him. And she says Trin lives with her brother Marnie in a farmhouse also not far from here as well. And I can tell you where to find all three of these places respectively.
Well,
I
we
can
should,
even show you on the map if you want.
Well, if there's 3 spots, maybe we should all split up. No.
I don't think
No.
we should split up.
I don't.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a killer on.
Never split the party.
We should stay together. We should stay together.
Fair enough.
All right. So,
See, encounter design works a certain way.
Never split the party. Never split the party.
Well, we should definitely
I can hear Bender. I can hear Bender in my head screaming it now. Never split the party.
Unless you're playing Call of Cthulhu, because that's sometimes the only way to keep from a whole party wipe.
Oh my!
all right. So, your attention to the map. She says that that Amora lives in the Old Orchard, which is up here, up in the northwestern part of town here. She tells you that Trin's house is down on the outskirts. It's the large farm, so indicating one of these 2 bigger homes is likely going to be hers. And she tells you that Conral lives with his wife in this part of town right here, not far from the feed mill. Those are the 3 locations of the 3 employees that she does know where they live, and in fact, she's feeling now that you've brought it to her attention and you've said so. She says, I feel a little embarrassed by the fact that I have not paid enough attention to Finnick and knowing where he's staying and knowing that he's all right when he's not here, and given the opportunity and with his innocence, I will make efforts to correct this fact.
Good.
It's nice to hear. I feel like we should talk to the person who spends the most time with him first.
Yeah, who knows best?
It's also quite a journey across the river there, so I'm not sure if that's the best idea at night.
Is the moon out? Like, what's the?
It's actually it's that time of summer where it stays late, very late into the evening. So it's probably by our clocks, it's probably 8 or 9 o'clock in the evening, but it's still light out. It's still light enough to see. You know,
Delma, how long do you think it would take for us to get to the chef's house? Like, what was her name?
Amora.
Amora, yeah.
The Old Orchard is only about a 5-minute walk.
Well, we should probably go there first to see if she knows where Finnick is, because he seems like the main person here, but I also don't feel like he would be malicious. Someone else has to be the brains behind this, right?
Oh, he's definitely not the brains behind anything. She says, it's much quicker, dear, if you go west past the Plaguestone. If you go west and out of town, there is a path that will take you to a shallow spot in the river where you can simply walk across. If you don't want to go north all the way up and across the bridge and then down, that would be about a half an hour walk if you went that way. It'll save you a considerable amount of time.
What does everyone else think?
Well, I'm not too fond of fording a stream, but I'm willing to be outvoted on that one.
Well, doesn't bother me, but I'm rougher than most.
Should we check the house of the employees that are closer by first, or do we go straight to Amora?
I think we go straight to Amora. She was also in the kitchen. She might have some other intelligence.
Okay. Well, Delma, thank you for all your help and your instruction. Probably couldn't have done this without you, so we appreciate all your cooperation.
Of course. As you know, the rooms are in the stables, so you have access to those anytime, day or night. I will be locking up the kitchen and the dining area for the evening and going home myself. And if you need me, I will be back here first thing in the morning, just before first light. I'm usually arriving. I'm pretty busy in the morning. So you follow her instructions. You're going to head off now, take the west path past the Plaguestone, as she said, and find that footpath that takes you to the shallow of the river that you can hop across the stones, or it minimizes the amount of wet that you would get. Correct.
So along the way, are we seeing any tracks from Finnick?
You may make a survival check. Anyone searching for tracks can use the survival skill to see if you notice anything.
I only get an 8.
I am trained in survival, so I'll give it a shot. And
I got an 11.
Roll
Well, I got a 6 plus 5.
7, so yeah, not so much.
So I'm rolling my d20, and then the survival skill, I'm adding the number there.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, so I got a 16 total.
Nice.
A 16. Okay. So with a 16, you were able to see. It looks like Amora favors a pointed toe with a heel, with like a boot that she wears, and you can see where the heel of her boot has made lasting impressions as she has walked to and from work and home. So there's definitely signs of her. There are other tracks here. It looks like potentially some game tracks also have worn this path. Potentially, originally, it was a game track path that was just kind of appropriated by the townspeople, and they just started using it themselves. So the only fresh tracks that you can find here are those made by Amora. You do not see anything like you did behind the building, between the building and the barn.
And those tracks Phoenix left behind the building didn't lead anywhere?
No, the tracks that you found simply went back and forth. They went between the barn and the house.
They were well worn in.
They were pretty well worn in, yeah. And they led right to the barn door that goes in. And again, a quick search of the barn, it's the stables. It's the back way out to the barn and to the stables. And it's, as I described to you before, it's the area below is where the animals are tended to. And then up above, there are separate lofts. And the quote unquote rooms that you're staying in are basically 3 walls, a ceiling, and a floor. They're open on one side facing out to the open air. And that's the kind of room configuration you have here.
Roomy.
All right, so you make your way out to the path. You get to the crossing. The water here is only about 8 inches to a foot deep, and there are several large stepping stones. Again, look like they're well used and strong enough and sturdy enough to support even the heaviest of your weight. And without the need for acrobatics, you can take your time and step from stone to stone and get to the other side. You make your way into the old orchard. It fits the description that Delma shared with you, that at one point it was a very productive apple orchard. You can see the remains of the dead trees in their rows here, as they once were in a better time. These days, it is foul and rotten. The trees that are still alive seem to have taken on a sickness. The rest of them are just kind of facades of what they once were. In the middle of this grove, you can see that there is a broken down, very simple looking kind of pioneer shack, is the best way to describe it. There is no roof per se. It does not have lines or definition. It seems that they built a simple box out of wood and then through a lot of moss and ground. They built up the sides so that the earth is insulating on both sides of it, and they've kind of mossed it over the top, giving it a camouflaged kind of top. But as you approach from this side, you can see clearly that there is a shack here. Alongside of the shack, you can see that there are two, from the distance, they look like barrels sitting on top of crates. And you can just kind of see the outline of them shadowed in the as it starts to get a little darker, as the sun is starting to fade away, and the summer night is finally starting to take on a slightly darker shade of blue. And you can hear the sound of someone singing to themselves, not necessarily making words, but just kind of like a la 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 la, more than a hum, less than a song, but you can hear the voice coming from the shack. These two structures I described, these small little crates and barrel thing that you see, are just off to the side of the shack where you're hearing this as you're approaching. Continue moving forward towards the shack.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
All right.
That's right.
So let's
Yes.
talk. Let's talk about marching orders. How are you guys? You all just kind of in a cluster moving down? Are you in any kind of an organized manner? Are you doing a 2x2 or 2 rows of 3? Like, how does this group assemble when they go from point A to point B?
I prefer to
As I
back.
cut the most fearsome profile, I think I should be in front.
Yeah.
Okay.
Simon's the tip of the spear.
All right. So Simon's leading. And are you doing like a 2x2 or a 3x3? How do you want to proceed there?
I think we should make a square in case there's any cavalry.
That's a solid plan because if they steal our horses and then use them against us, we need to be ready for that. There,
That's exactly it.
This is a good plan. This is a good plan.
So where Simon
I highly approve of this plan.
where Simon goes, Desna is not far to follow. So I imagine Desna is near the front as well, keeping an eye on your friend.
I'll be behind Simon.
Yes, of course you will. Who else would like to take a frontal position?
Theron will probably take a frontal position.
All right. So let's have you.
Doesn't really have any weapons out. Has his crossbow on his back. He's
I
not really expecting.
definitely have my dagger out. I'm very suspicious.
And Daisy
Or the shield at the ready.
tends to like to be, more or less equidistant from everybody. So he's in within easy reach of everyone. He doesn't have his weapon out, but he definitely has his shield unslung.
Okay. Electra, do you want to be more towards the front or do you want to be more towards the back, pulling up the rear, protecting the rear of the group?
Protecting the rear, and I will
Okay.
have my sword drawn.
Fantastic. So Daisy,
I'll be back with her.
then like Kira, and then Electra in the very rear. Fantastic. All right. So if everyone would be so kind as to roll some perception checks for me as the sun is beginning to set and you make your way towards the shack.
No,
I rolled a 16.
I rolled
16?
I rolled a
So
17.
we count
Oh, well,
the number on the perception as well, right?
Yeah. You roll plus that.
Okay, well, I got an 8.
An 8. Okay.
I got a total of 17.
The DC is 15 or better.
yeah, no.
I got a 20.
So I got a 16. Like here, I got a 17.
Okay.
Theron got a 20. Electra.
20.
Okay, fantastic. So with a 15 or higher, you basically close the distance to the shack and to these stacked objects I described to you. And those of you with a DC 15 or higher who are trained or better in knowledge nature can make a follow-up roll of knowledge nature, but only if you hit that DC 15 perception. You got to first see it, and then you got to be able to interpret it only if you're trained.
All
I am
right.
not trained.
I am.
I am trained, and I got a 12.
Okay.
I got a 12 plus 2 in nature.
So 14.
Yeah.
A 14. All right, fantastic. A DC 12 or higher in that roll that I just requested from you results in your recognizing what these crate and barrel things are. You immediately recognize that they are not crate and barrels. They're actually a fairly uncommon design in beehives. And it looks like Amora is also a beekeeper and probably makes honey as well.
Ooh, wonder if she makes mead.
I will point that out. Beehives.
That's the wrong one. That's the right one. Let's bring me up to here and do this. Or is it this? Yes. There we go. There we go. So you could see the group, Simon in front, followed by Theron, followed by Desna with her rat familiar right next to her. Next we have Daisy. You're a little washed out, Daisy. Your white cloak, your fur white cloak is reflecting in what little bit of light is hitting, like Kira, and then finally Electra in the rear. So you are about 40 feet away, Simon, from the hives and from the shack behind where you can hear the woman softly singing. Do you continue forward?
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe we
I'm
can
gonna.
call out to her so we don't get stung by bees.
I'm
Simon,
not afraid of
what were you
bees.
going to say? Simon, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was just gonna say I was gonna walk forward on a line between the house and the beehives.
Okay. So about there, everybody following?
Yes.
Okay. Keeping formation as we go. Daisy, like Kira, and then Electra in the rear coming up that way. All right. So Simon, as you move up, you can now see, because I'm sure it is likely that one of your friends called out, like if they who. Okay, let's do this another way. Show of hands. Who made that nature check after perceiving? All right, so Theron, like Kira, the two of you both did, and I made the presumption, correct me if I'm wrong, I made the presumption that you would have called that out to the group and told them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Theron did. Yeah.
Theron did. Yeah.
So Simon, you're kind of
beehives.
fascinated. You're absolutely fascinated with this idea because, frankly, you love honey. You think the taste of honey is incredible, and that's not something goblins do as a general rule. They don't eat or make honey. So when you've had a chance to get it, it's been a cool thing. So you're looking at this thing, and it looks like the barrel portion is sort of an artificial hive structure, and the crating below it seems to be where the honey is collected and retrieved from. The barrels are both buzzing. You could just see them kind of. It's hard to focus on one particular screw or one edge of a strap on the barrel because they're just vibrating in motion. And when you get to about there, you can see that the very tops of the hives, the tops of the barrels, have a hole in them that's about 4 inches in diameter. And about that point, bees begin to flood out of the tops of both of them. Roll initiative.
No.
Well, that's
Did I
odd.
not just say maybe we should call out and not get to the bees?
You
Well,
did.
No.
Desna's a smart girl.
Bees don't usually do that.
I'm retiring that guy.
Desna's a smart girl. So, smart girl, what's your initiative?
9.
9. Thank you. Like Kira.
I rolled a 10, but I can't seem to find where.
Your
Where at?
perception's a +5. So,
Okay.
so you would add
Oh,
your
I see that.
perception
I'm
to it,
sorry. Yes.
And
Oh.
that would,
17.
that
Or
would give
15.
you a 15.
I rolled a 14 then. I'm sorry.
A 14. Okay. Correction.
I add my perception.
you.
My bad.
14, 15. Theron.
17.
17. Okay. Electra.
12.
12. Daisy.
5.
5.
I've been looking for apples, not finding any.
All right.
I'm thinking about the honey mead.
The mobs are on. All right. And last but not least, oh no, I fucked that up. You were on 5. Wrong card. 17. Thank you. Simon, initiative, please.
13.
13. Thank you. All right. So, 13, 14, 15, 17, 7, 17, 2. Okay. So, Theron, you are at the top of the order. What you currently see is the bees are occupying these 4 squares right here as they have poured out of these 2 hives and kind of come together in that 4 squares right there. They are basically hovering off the ground, Theron, between 5 and 8 feet in that kind of general kind of a cloud. So they are in flight, but they are also accessible to you. It is your turn.
Well, Theron looks at this odd thing and he just says, "Damn, that's not supposed to happen." And then I call out, "Amora, we're here to talk to you, and there's bees." And then I move backwards and take out my club. I'm like, I don't know what this is going to do against bees.
How far backwards would you like to move?
I'll move 20 feet.
20 feet straight back?
Straight back.
1, 2, 3, 4. And you call out to Amora.
Goddamn bees!
When you call out to Amora, you hear that her singing stops. Anything else from you this round?
I don't think so. Other than I'm going to take out my clan dagger as well. So I've got a club in one hand and a clan dagger in the other, and just swearing, "Goddamn bees, bees."
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Theron. On 17 are the bees. So the bees will swarm forward.
No.
Question, Stephen, with swarms in Pathfinder 2nd Edition, it used to be that swarms would occupy themselves in a square and could move out of that square but would reform back to it. Is that still same the dynamics, or can they occupy just any 4 squares? I looked up swarm and it kind of gave that general thing, but it didn't. It just said they occupy as much space as their size, and they're a large. So
that's a damn good question.
That's a damn good question. I couldn't find the answer anywhere. So what they're going to do is they're going to surge forward like so. They're going to occupy the same square that Simon's in, presuming they have to stay in that kind of formation. If they don't have to stay in that formation, they would also occupy Desna's square as well. But for now, we'll just resolve with Simon because that's the part that I at least know.
Oh, crap.
So, yeah, swarms can occupy other creatures' areas. In fact, they must do that to attack.
Correct. Can they break up from the 2x2? Can they occupy like a line?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Not normally.
Right. Okay. So yes. So they move in mass. They swarm over Simon as their second action. Their first action is to move. When this happens, Simon, you need to make for me a reflex saving throw, please.
Well, Simon used to like honey.
I rolled a 1.
Oh,
Oh no!
all
No.
right. So that is a critical fail.
They got in his mouth.
Oh
Oh
my
my
god.
What does your reflex save modify up to on the 1? Just so I know the math.
10.
10. Okay, so it is definitely a critical fail. You are going to take 2d4 piercing damage. So that's a whopping 3 points of piercing damage.
Oh my god!
And now I need you to follow that up, Simon, with a DC 16 fortitude save from the shock dose of bee poison that was just injected into you.
Okay, so that is a 22.
Nicely done. You succeed. You do not take additional poison damage or any secondary conditional effects. That will end the bee's turn. That brings us to Lycura on the 15 count, followed by Desna on the 14 count. Lycura, your turn.
I would like to start with phasing my familiar, which is a reaction.
Reactions happen off turn.
Oh.
Yeah, reactions are things that you do not on your turn. Those are things that you do off turn.
Oh, okay.
Yep. But if you have anything that takes you an action, single diamond, double diamond, triple diamond, that's what you're looking for on your turn.
Okay. I would like to cast chill touch.
Okay.
Siphoning negative energy into yourself. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna roll for that. And then what do I add? My wisdom, or what am I adding to what I rolled for that?
Your spell attack, the thing we just.
Yeah, it's a set value.
Okay.
It's a set value, so that while you're at this level, every time you make a spell attack that needs that kind of roll, it'll always be that same modifier.
Okay.
It's going to be +7.
Remember, like here when we went to
7.
page 4 and you did the checkbox, it's going to be whatever that is.
Yeah, I just have trouble like finding it on the page sometimes.
Yeah.
Because it's
Understood.
Yep.
It's usually stashed right above your spell lists, is usually where it is, somewhere around in there. And they also provide you with the DC that other things need to roll against your spells. Those are two values that are really important to you as a spellcaster.
So then I got a total of 23.
23 to hit. Yes. 23 will hit. What is the results of the spell? What does it do?
Let's see. Oh, was I supposed to? I'm sorry. Was I supposed to use my D4? Crap.
Not to roll to hit. No.
Okay. I guess I'm reading this
20
right.
to hit. You said you're doing chill touch.
Mm-hmm. The target attempts a basic fortitude save, but is enfeebled 1 for 1 on a round on a critical failure. Did I get a critical failure?
No.
Okay.
No, you rolled high.
Okay.
Yeah. Spell does 1 point of negative damage equal to spell does 1 negative damage equal to 1d4 plus your spellcasting modifier. So your damage is 1d4 plus your spellcasting modifier,
Which is which is +4.
So do I roll
1d4 plus 4 is the damage that you do from that spell.
Okay.
And it is cold damage, right? Or is it necromancy? Necromancy. Okay.
That's necromancy.
Necromancy.
Undead bees.
So what was that 1d4 plus 4, like Kara?
Okay, it was
pyramid.
It was a total of 7 then.
7 points.
Nice.
Okay.
Thanks for being so patient.
No worries. And that is necrotic damage. 7 points. All right. Beautiful. Did you want to also move from your current position, or do you want to stay where you're at?
I like staying back.
Okay, great. Like Kira's turn is done. That brings us to Desna.
So I'm gonna call out to Amora again and just yell bees. I hope that she comes and saves us, and then I will cast produce flame. I don't want to harm the bees. I just want to scare them away from Simon. So, am I able to cast Produce Flame and just kind of like shoot it towards the bees up away from them? I don't want to hit Simon and I don't want to hit the bees.
You cannot do non-lethal damage with Produce Flame against the swarm. I believe since they occupy 4 squares and he's only in one of them, you could do that without hitting him because you can target any one of their 4 squares.
Okay.
But you can't do non-lethal damage with fire against bees.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna do Daze instead then, so I can hopefully just stun the bees away from him.
Okay. One creature.
So I have range of 60 feet, 1 round, 4 damage plus possibility to stun.
Interesting. Okay, and they have to make a will for 19 on the die plus 4 is a lot, so it will slough off your attempts to daze it.
Darn.
You have 1 action point left on the round.
Well, I'm gonna take as many steps back as possible. Sorry, Simon, I tried to save you.
I believe you have a 25 move, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4 is a 20-foot move. Your rat moves along with you, or wrapped around you at the time, kind of thing. So no problem. And that completes Desna's turn. It is Simon's turn, followed by Electra. All right, Simon, it is your turn on 13, followed by Electra on 12.
I want to move away from the bees.
All right. Okay. Where would you like to move to?
Back towards my friends and away from the bees.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 25 move puts you between Electra and Daisy.
That's perfect.
Okay. That's an action point.
Okay. I would like to take out a torch and my flint and light it. If I can do that, that's probably more movements than I can probably take every. Can I take out a torch and my flint and steel?
You can draw them out as an action point. Correct.
Okay. And then if I have another action point that I can spend, I would like to light the torch.
I don't know if lighting a torch is only 1 action point. If I'm fine with that, and we can move past that. If you would, in the meantime, look to see if there's anything documenting that in combat, trying to light a torch. I don't know if it's going to say, it takes you a minute to do so. If that's the case, you can't do it in combat.
That's right.
So, all right. So you move, you pull your gear out and prepare to make good with that. Electra, on 12, you are up.
Okay, so they're coming from those 2 barrels up front, correct?
Yeah, they're the 4 little grayish spots that are between the barrels and the group. They're flying in a swarm that equates to about a 10 by 10.
And we're not trying to harm them. We're what are we trying? Just avoid them, just to get to the shack.
I harmed them.
I
have no problem harming them.
They harmed Simon. You watched them.
They harmed me. I'm going to harm them back.
They stung the living shit out of Simon.
I would like to use
no problem harming me.
I would like to use my longbow and try and
fire an arrow through the swarm?
Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
Don't make them angry.
So I rolled a 17.
You will definitely hit the swarm. Your arrow tears through the swarm, making contact with several flying bees. Roll damage for me.
And then which one should I roll for that? Would that be the
Longbow is going to be a die 8. 1d8 plus your is it Dex mod to damage? In Pathfinder, in second edition, it's melee is strength to hit, strength damage. In range is dex to hit, dex to damage. Correct?
Depends on what you're using. It's usually the range attacks don't add dex to damage.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Okay.
They just add dex to the hit thing, I think, right? To your hit bonus.
Gotcha.
I rolled a 6. So.
All right. So it wasn't terribly effective. The arrow kind of ripped through the swarm, and you probably downed 1 or 2 bugs in the grand scheme of the swarm. It didn't feel terribly effective to you, Electra. Electra finishes her round. Daisy will cast a blessing on the group, and you will see Amora come out from the shack. She is donned in a full size, in a head to toe suit with a full, covered face mask. In her hand, she has a metal device that looks a lot like a tea kettle, but has a handle on the back of it. And she begins pumping it furiously as smoke comes pouring out and consumes the entire swarm. You lose sight of the swarm, and before long, the sound of the bees buzzing subsides as they fly back into the hives. And I think that's a fantastic place for us to wrap up for episode 6. We will see you back for episode 7. Thank you for joining us, and don't let the bees sting ya.